Why, hello there, everyone. Welcome to my unboxing of my Snackbox Micro 2023 version, to be precise, from Junk Food Custom Arcades. I've been wanting to get a Hitbox style controller like this for a while. I keep on thinking about it, but I thought the Hitboxes were too expensive for what they were because I could just make one myself for way cheaper, but I didn't feel like making one myself, so I was in this limbo for a while. That is until Junk Food Custom Arcades made their 2023 version, because the 2023 version specifically works on essentially everything, which future-proofs it for me, which is a big plus, especially if you're someone like myself who likes making videos on multiple different systems and consoles, right? So it works on Xbox Series X and S, PS5, PS4, Switch, PC, all that. And this is obviously the box it came in. As you see, I have to open it with scissors. So this is how everything came shipped. Of course, the marker on the top was me defacing the address information. They obviously did not do that. But you can see that I ordered some custom keycaps to go with it, which I will be putting on in this video. And that is the cable for the USB-C. Apparently they used to use their own proprietary cable, but they've been using USB-C cables lately, which is obviously a lot better. And here is the button legend, because obviously you don't have actual button writings or button notations on the controller itself. There's an Epic sticker. And on the bubble wrap here, you can see that this must be for their own end, for their own stock, but they have the 2023 version checked there. And I also ordered the heavy metal plate. Those are the inserts, the metallic inserts, which I will also be installing. But the big piece of metal is the heavy metal plate, which is just a heavier version of the metal plate that's already inside of the controller. Because I know me personally, I like heavy controllers. I wouldn't want this thing feeling as if it's going to slide around easily. So I knew that I would want to have it heavier. And once I put this in, I can show you, or I will show you, how much thicker this is than the plate that comes stock inside. So this is how it comes stock. And as you can see, or maybe you can see, the buttons come concave. The default buttons are concave. And so my main concern was how it would feel to do specific things, such as a half circle input or an SPD input, which entails you to slide your finger across 3 of the buttons, right? And also doing mash supers on a game such as Marvel vs. Capcom 3, right? And it is for that exact reason the buttons I ordered are the convex kind, because I expected the convex buttons to be easier for that sort of thing. Here's a close-up. And now I will be unscrewing the back to replace the plate. And so here you can see the inside, the underside of all the switches. And now here's that comparison between the two plates. You can see, obviously, the heavy one is much thicker, so you can imagine how much heavier it is. Definitely makes it feel better, in my opinion, but that's going to be a very subjective thing. And so now I'm going to be replacing the keycaps. Just the keycaps, though, not the miscellaneous buttons, the tiny little buttons at the top, such as your start, your select, your PlayStation touchpad buttons, those things, R3 and L3. Because even though the set of red keycaps that I ordered does include a matching set of red miscellaneous buttons, you actually have to take out the board in order to replace those, and I didn't think it was worth it. I didn't think it was worth incurring any kind of risk to potentially damage the board just to replace those tiny little buttons, because I actually don't mind those little buttons staying black. I mostly just wanted to change the color and convexity of the main buttons. So, in theory, these buttons are supposed to be, or the keycaps are supposed to be removable by themselves. However, as you will see, the majority of the buttons, the majority of the keycaps get pulled out with the switches still attached, because for some reason, some of these keycaps are attached so strongly to the Switch, more strongly than the Switch is to the controller itself. So if you do take out the keycap along with the Switch, you're going to have to pull them apart separately afterwards, obviously, and then you can put the Switch back in. Just make sure that when you put the Switch back in, that none of the metal parts are bent, and if they are bent, make sure you bend them back straight, but be careful when you do it, obviously. Also, when you are removing these keycaps, make sure that you are pulling up from two opposite sides at once, so that way you don't risk bending or breaking anything. Similar to if you were to remove a keycap on your computer keyboard, because this is essentially the same thing with keyboard switches. Now I can put in the metallic inserts, and I was expecting these. Maybe I should check the description again, because maybe it explicitly says exactly what they are made of in the description on the store page. But for some reason, I was expecting these things to be either thicker or actually made out of some kind of metal or foil or something like that, but they are really just paper. And so knowing that, I feel as if I could have just fabricated my own. And I saw that a lot of these are sold out. So if there's a specific color that you want, but they don't have it, I would recommend maybe trying to just fabricate some yourself, because again, it's literally just paper and you could probably make your own fairly easily. For example, when I ordered this snack box, the metallic silver, the ones that you are looking at right now, those were the only color available at the time of me ordering. But that worked out because conveniently that was the color I was wanting anyway, because I actually am planning something with this controller, which I will unveil in time. But let me just say there's a reason I chose the metallic silver with the red. But as you can see, they are circular on the outside with four little protrusions in each cardinal direction. Well, one in each cardinal direction, 4 total. And these little protrusions fit into, I doubt you can see it on the camera, but there are these little corresponding gaps where you insert them. And so when I lay the inserts down, I don't know if there's a specific way to do this, but this is how I found it works. I lay the metallic inserts down inside, and I push it down flat, more or less. I generally push it down flat with something such as, in this case, I'm using a screwdriver, but with the rubber end put on, so that way I'm not scratching it. So anything that's narrow like that isn't going to risk scratching or damaging the paper, right? Use that to push it down generally flat, and then once it's mostly flat, I used my fingernail to ensure that each of those little protrusions from each direction were actually fitting inside of the gaps that they're supposed to fit into. And I mostly had to do that part off camera because I had to look at it kind of closely, and how my camera is set up, I had to actually get it closer to my face, which happens to be out of frame. But anyways, pretty easy and self-explanatory. Now here are the keycaps, and before I put them in, I will put them beside the keycaps that came stock, so hopefully you can see the difference between the convex keycaps and the concave keycaps. Also, the convex ones are smoother, whereas the concave ones have a bit of a matte finish to it. It feels nice, but it's not something I would want on a controller upon which I will be sliding my fingers back and forth. And now you can see I'm just putting the keycaps on. You literally just line it up and push them on. It's pretty easy. Something I don't like about the red keycaps, however, and I doubt that this has anything to do with them being red. Maybe this is just on all of the convex keycaps. But regardless, the ones I have right here have super obvious nub marks on the sides from when they were cut out of a plastic runner. I'm assuming they must have been cut out of a plastic runner of some kind, right? For them to get nub marks on the sides like that. And it looks kind of cheap. It kind of annoys me. I wish, with this being the case, they could have just sent me the plastic runner, because I do plastic models anyway. I literally could have cut them out of a runner and shaved down the nub marks way less noticeably than them just straight up cutting it out of the runner like they did. So I'm thinking maybe I'm going to go back and remove these keycaps so that way I can sand down the nub marks myself. But for now, I'm just dealing with it. But that is something to keep in mind. And if anyone from Focus Attack is watching, that's definitely a critique I would like you to fix, please. And here's the button check. You might be able to tell that one of the buttons there looks slightly off center. Don't worry, nothing is defective about it. I literally just didn't push it down all the way. I noticed it right after turning off the recording. But anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know in the comments if you have one of these controllers for yourself, and if you don't, let me know if you have any questions about it. At the time of posting this video, I've played with it for 2 sessions. So I have a little bit of experience with it already, but I'm planning on doing an actual review proper once I put more significant time into it. I'm trying to get used to this thing before Street Fighter 6 comes out, so that way I can hit the ground running in Street Fighter 6, already being used to this controller. And I think that's all I have to say in the meantime, so bye for now.